Hi everyone, it's lovely to see you. I hope you're all really enjoying the sunshine and had a lovely bank holiday weekend. I've been thinking a lot about fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of putting yourself in front of a camera. But I started this predominantly to address my own fear. I get very nervous about what other people think of me, and yet I understand that when it comes to things like this, nobody really cares. I'm just one person in the drop of an ocean of people delivering content on YouTube. But nonetheless, even though I know that it's kind of misplaced fear, actually it still bothers me. Even now, when I press film and I'm talking to the camera, I feel anxiety, and I can actually stop it at any point. I can delete the footage, I can re-record, but nonetheless, I still find it difficult. It's something I'm still working on, is trying to get more comfortable about being in front of the camera and seeing myself on it. Having started this business and putting my artwork out there for people to enjoy, hopefully connect with, will people respond positively? Will my work be viewed successfully? Will I make sales? Will people book the workshops? And there's so many layers to it as well, because, you know, when we set out as artists or set up any kind of small business, I would argue that no one person has the answers to everything. But it isn't just about making artwork, is it? When you decide that you're not just doing it as a hobby, it involves lots and lots of aspects. So you need to be able to market yourself, you need to be able to network, make connections with people, both the public that you want to book your courses or build a relationship with, and learn about your artwork, make purchases in the future. You need to be able to set up a website, or at least utilise those shop platforms out there such as Etsy, Not on the High Street, and the many others that are available. There are a lot more hurdles to overcome, more challenges that you face, and yet there are also lots and lots of tools out there, tools that you can access to some degree for free. And there's also a massive learning curve with that, but it does mean that if I take somebody like myself, I can pick things up, but I'm not the fastest, and nor am I the most technological minded. It does take a little while to get there. I suppose what I'm saying is that with a bit of time and commitment and patience, you can use platforms like Canva and CapCut, Snapper to help you in your journey to address things like making content, and also creating things like newsletters, posters, advertising for your business. I suppose for some people, there'll be certain things that they go to do, like creating a YouTube channel and making content, putting their face in front of a camera, that come much more naturally. And that's where I guess, when I think about my own fear, and perhaps other people will find this is relatable, is that it's that kind of, you make a comparison to those people. We see so much online now that it's hard not to look over your shoulder at the next person and think, oh, they do that so effortlessly. It just looks like they make it so easy. And I certainly tell myself to just take a deep breath and take your time, and it will all be okay. And you can always re-record the bit of footage that you're trying to make. But I think that there will always be a little bit of a barrier, and I suppose the more you do it, the easier it is. And even in my small amount of content I've made, and the short journey I've been on so far, I have made some improvement. I also think about the students that I've taught over the years, and when I've been faced with questions from them about their fears and what they're scared of, I've always listened, empathised. That's hugely important, and endeavoured to help them overcome that fear, but be realistic at the same time, because I don't have the power to take the fear away, because if I did, I'd be doing it for myself too on this occasion. But I do think that those sayings we all hear about, if you don't try, you won't know. You've got to take the first step. I've always encouraged them to face those fears head on. And I suppose I'm just taking a leaf out of that book, making myself do what I said to those children. And despite what others may think or view, and whether it reaches more people or not, it's important to me. It's important for my personal development to keep doing this. I am sorry that I haven't had more content put out on a weekly basis, because that was the intention at the beginning. I think, though, I was a bit naive about the amount of work that it takes to actually create the content, edit the content, learn all the different techniques, and in addition to all of the other things that I'm trying to do. So it's more important to me that I put out content that's worthwhile, even if it's not as frequent as weekly. So it will be anywhere between weekly and monthly, depending on what I can achieve. And I hope you'll bear with me while that happens. Of course, one great thing to do when you're feeling a little bit low is to make art. And whether that's art, craft, singing, dancing, it doesn't matter what it is, going for a walk, all those things are really important. Just give yourself the time to reevaluate, have a different perspective, get on your bike, go for a ride, take a walk into town, or if you're lucky enough in the countryside or woods, just do something that takes your mind perhaps to a slightly different place than the one you're in when you're stuck in that rut of thinking that you're not where you want to be. If you want to reach out and share your story, then please do. I'd love to hear from you. The next footage you're going to see is the creation of my little tiny forest dragon. I have put together a premium kit which includes all of the clay, visual instructions, everything that you would need to make this little dragon is going to be available through my website, sculpthappy.com. It is not something that you need to have loads of experience of polymer clay to be able to make. So if you're interested, then please do send me any questions you might have. Anybody can make this dragon, anybody can do it. So I hope you really enjoy the process of this forest dragon.
Once upon a time, in the heart of the forest, where sunlight dances on emerald leaves and trees whisper secrets to the wind, a dragon awakes.
This tiny dragon is more than just a sculpture. It's a symbol of resilience, warmth, strength, and the kind of bravery that doesn't always roar. Not all dragons breathe fire. Some are quiet and steady, gentle, yet their strength is undeniable. True courage often lies in the simple acts, in standing firm, in choosing kindness, and in moving forward step by step.